Stoner has been all over Book Talk, and if you liked it, here's a few other books you might enjoy as well. The obvious follow-up would be John Williams' other masterpiece, Butcher's Crossing. While stylistically it's very similar to Stoner, in terms of content, setting, it's very, very different. This is sort of a Western or an anti-Western and really deals with the gruesome brutality of the Western landscape. In Stoner, the main protagonist leaves a rural farm life and enters academia. In Butcher's Crossing, the young man, who's similar to William Stoner, leaves an academic life and goes out into a rural landscape. The protagonist is searching for himself. He's looking for something more. A lot of young men will relate to this book. And ultimately, he goes on a buffalo hunt that is wild, tragic, heart-wrenching, and at times nauseating. There's an antagonist in this story who I want to say rivals the judge in Blood Meridian. He's not quite on that level, but he is certainly psychopathic. John Williams, in a lot of ways, reminds me of Virginia Woolf, not because they have the same style or the same content, but because every single sentence feels so carefully crafted, like it's been labored over by the author, each word placed as if a jeweler is placing diamonds on a ring, just carefully placed, carefully measured, and wonderful from beginning to end. Next up, if you haven't read it, you got to read The Metamorphosis from Franz Kafka. If you were to look at a sort of a literary family tree, a lineage where you see which authors influenced which authors, somewhere at the top, you would find Franz Kafka. And he'd be there alongside Flaubert and Dostoevsky, Shakespeare, a few others. But Kafka has been monumentally influential. Why do I say this is a good follow-up to Stoner? Because in Stoner, he's sort of out of joint. He doesn't quite fit on the family farm. He doesn't quite fit in academia. There's quite a bit of drama and headbutting that takes place. Even his relationships are disjointed at times for various reasons. And similarly, in The Metamorphosis, Gregor Samsa wakes up to find that he's been transformed into a giant insect. And he has to deal with being different than everyone else, not quite fitting in, which would be an understatement. Themes of solitude, loneliness, not understanding and not being understood all kind of work their way into both narratives. Next up, we have Confusion by Stefan Zweig. I think this might be the best, or at least my favorite book that I've read so far this year. It is an NYRB, a little bit of Austrian literature. Stylistically, it's subtle, sweet, wonderful. Like Stoner, it's in an academic setting. Like Stoner, there's a complex emotional depth between characters and love interests. There's also a very human mystery involved in this, not a tacky murder mystery, but there are things happening with characters that you don't quite understand till the end. It's actually mind-blowing to me that this has not been adapted for the screen. I feel like this is ripe literature to be adapted from novel to screenplay. On screen, I think it would feel a lot like The Reader, which was a novel adapted and did really well at the Academy Awards with Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes. Stefan has not gotten enough Book Talk attention or really attention at all. He was popular in his day, not so popular now, but this is certainly worth checking out. Next up, The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. You might say, what on earth? If you've read both, if you've read Stoner and you've read Invisible Man, you might think, what do they have to do with each other? Both characters, the protagonist in Invisible Man and the protagonist in Stoner, are both dealing with senses of disillusionment with institutions and with the academic world specifically. Stoner is quite different in the scope and style of the work. Invisible Man differs. It's worth reading. It's pretty big, 600 pages, but it's an American classic. It deals very much with the topic of race. You kind of see the world through the eyes of the protagonist, a young black man who's coming of age in an American setting in the early to mid 20th century. It could top the list for best first novel ever. This is the first and only novel that Ralph Ellison finished and published in his lifetime, actually. It feels so well developed and mature. Stylistically, it's on point. The dialogue's great. It's a cool adventure. It has elements of Saul Bellow in it. In fact, I think they were good friends, but this would be great to add to your summer reading list. Finally, for a shorter book that can be read very quickly, we have Claire Keegan's Foster. I've talked about this one before. Like Stoner, it's subtle, stylistically subtle. It's almost a non-story, like Stoner as well. Content-wise, character-wise, quite different. The setting's different. This takes place in Ireland with a young girl who is a foster child and navigates her experience going to this new home. And there's an emotional complexity that's very subtle, very Chekhov-like. And so I think it borrows a lot of similar qualities to Stoner. If you like the feel of that book, Stoner, then I really think you're going to appreciate Claire Keegan's book as well. And because it's so short, it's minimal investment. And if you like it, she's got other things, small things like these, and other works and short stories that you can read that you'll find interest in. So if you close Stoner and say, where do I go next? Hopefully this gives you a few ideas.